What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If anyone is going to be joining live, that's great. This was definitely impromptu. I have never done a StreamYard before. This is my first time using this app. And actually, I think only my second time doing a live session on YouTube. So, anyway, I'm just going to get into it because, again, it's pretty early in the morning on a Wednesday. I'm working in my office, kind of working on some things. So, this is sort of like a working with me chat conversation. And so many people are talking about Chris Rock and the Will Smith slap heard around the world. And I know there are a whole lot of other important things going on in the world right now that we all could be talking about and should be talking about. But I had a conversation with someone yesterday and we didn't agree on a lot of things. She was pretty much just 100% standing with Will Smith and what he did. And I I don't disagree with a husband standing up for his wife, but not just because it was the Oscars, because for me, it wasn't so much about the setting. Because one of the things that she was saying was, well, F that, who cares about the Oscars? And she also was taking it to, well, talking about race. And that's one of the things that I just really wasn't agreeing with her on. I just said I felt like him lashing out the way he did, it wasn't right, and it definitely just didn't seem like it made sense when especially he laughed at the joke, and then after seeing his wife's reaction, then that was his response to walk up on stage and smack Chris Rock. I just didn't get that. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with this is that some of the headlines I'm seeing is that Chris Rock makes a joke about alopecia. Who says that Chris Rock knew that she had alopecia? Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith may have millions of followers. That is true. But not everyone follows her, and not everyone has been exposed to every single thing that she has said because she has said a lot. She has exposed a lot about herself and about her family and other situations on the Red Table Talk show that she has on Facebook Watch. I've never watched it and I don't follow her on social media. So I honestly didn't know that she had alopecia. And I've seen her and her daughter's head shaved. And she's had her hair in so many different styles over the years. And there are people that are getting, there are not many, but there are some people that are getting to the point where they're just like, I just want a fresh start. So I'm shaving my head. But I didn't see it like Chris Rock was trying to attack Jada Pinkett Smith, period, or that he was trying to attack a person who has alopecia. So I think some people are taking this and making it about protecting Black women and attacking someone who has alopecia, and I just don't really agree with that. And it's crazy. Hello to the person that hopped in the chat. I'm sorry if I can't see you. This is my first time using StreamYard. But anyway, I wanted to just talk about this. And I just don't feel that, look, I'm not saying that Chris Rock is a 100% victim either, because there's some people that say that, well, Chris Rock, he runs his mouth too much and he carries the water for white supremacists. I don't really see that either. But I do believe that sometimes his jokes may not be in the best taste, but he is a comedian. And there was something that Steve Harvey said, and I don't agree with him a whole lot either, but I'm gonna share this what he said. And I actually did agree with what he said. And Twitter never forgets either, so there's some people that are bringing up a joke that Will Smith made on the Arsenio Hall show, which was years ago. So it's like, who really remembers that? But Steve Harvey said something, and I'm going to pull it up what he said, and I actually do agree with it. So I'm going to just read some of this. And this is from Complex Magazine, and he discussed it on his morning show. So Steve Harvey, he's giving his take on Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. So he pretty much said that what he did, in summing it up, was like a B move. He didn't say it was a bitch move, but this is what he said, and I quote, he said, "I understand defending the honor of your wife. I'm that dude. He didn't do that. That joke was not worthy of the reaction. If he was going to have a reaction, I think that Will should have done the man thing, which is step to him afterwards in that press room. And if he wanted to slap Chris then, he could have slapped Chris in the press room and see how it went." So, what Steve Harvey was pretty much saying, which is what I agree with, is that if you have the balls to go up to a man and open handedly slap them in the face, then do it in a way where you know you're not gonna really be able to get away with it. Do it in a space and in a place where if that person chose to respond and you were there for it, and if Chris wanted to throw hands, throw blows, or whatever, and respond in a physical manner, you were the one that started it, so you're giving him the opportunity to respond in the way that he would wanna respond too. And so what Steve Harvey continues to say is that what Will Smith did was a Hollywood move. And so what that means is he says, "See, he laughed at the joke until he saw Jada's reaction," which is what I said because I did a podversation and I talked about that on I recorded it on Monday and I think I posted it on yesterday. So he says, "But now let me tell you something. That's a Hollywood move now to go up there on national TV, slap another black man, turn around and walk off because you know he can't do anything." And not saying that Chris Rock couldn't have done anything because it's possible that he could have. Chris Rock chose not to. And some may say he was frozen, he was stunned. He didn't expect that to be the situation, but he didn't respond, period. So he said, in his opinion, Smith overreacted. And I agree. I do agree with that because the people who are trying to spin it now to make it about alopecia or about Chris Rock, who cheated on his wife and now he doesn't have a wife and he doesn't know how to treat women and he doesn't respect women, and he made a movie called I Think I Love My Wife when he was going through his own marital struggles and issues at the time. They're really spinning it and they're trying to make this deeper than what it is. If Will Smith was married to someone who wasn't famous and who wasn't an actress herself and she just so happened to have had a shaved head, whether it was from alopecia or it was just a style that this person chose to rock, Chris Rock never would have made a joke about Will Smith's wife. He made a joke about a movie relating it to when Demi Moore played G.I. Jane and she shaved her head for the role. It was about relating Jada's look at the time, which is her head was shaved. And some people haven't said this, but I thought about it too. She was wearing a green dress. You think of the army fatigues, the green and all of that. And because they said the joke wasn't even really written, Chris Rock ad-libbed it. So whether people like the joke, you have the right to not think it's funny. And sometimes jokes are at other people's expense and they don't like what is being said and they don't think it's funny. Did that warrant Will Smith going up on the stage and slapping Chris Rock across the face? And I said that I didn't think that it warranted that at that moment. If he felt like he was that pissed off, he I think look, it's easy to respond in a physical way when someone offends you, especially if they attack you. Most people, they're not going to turn the other cheek if somebody physically attacks them, but it is harder to get up and walk away. If it was that big of an offense, he could have gotten up, taken his wife, and walked out. Not saying they had to leave the Oscars for good, but they could have just left. But I felt like, the people who are saying that Well, Will Smith, he protected his wife. He protected his wife's honor. People need to protect Black women. And this is something that people need to see as an example of a husband protecting a wife. I'm going to give an example, and I'm definitely no celebrity, and I will never strive to be one. My husband, I've been married for over 23 years. Uh, he has been in the military and he has been overseas as a contractor, and he has been on the base. Actually, he was on a base when it was bombed in Iraq when Trump was in office, and he's suffering PTSD from that. It is not pretty sometimes. He's not abusive in any way, but he has things that can trigger him. And one day we were driving, he was driving one of our cars, and it's actually an older model Toyota Camry. And one of my husband's dogs chewed on the passenger seatbelt. So the seatbelt in the front doesn't work. So he and I were going to the store. So I sat in the back seat because I couldn't strap myself in the seatbelt. This white guy was driving by us and he yelled out the window and he called my husband the N word. That triggered my husband, and my husband was trying to follow this guy to go after him. And I was in the back seat screaming, "No, it's not worth it. Leave it alone. He's not worth it. You don't know who this person is. People are crazy. Leave it alone." And I wasn't speaking in that way. Like I was literally screaming because he was like flooring it, whipping in and out of the lanes to try to go after this guy. And the guy, he knew it. So he was flying too. But he finally listened to me after we were able to pull over to the side and park. And I was just able to calm him down. I'm not trying to relate my situation to what happened with Will and Chris and Jada, but yeah, a husband should protect their wife, and I agree with all of that stuff, but it goes both ways. And yeah, Jada was offended if she was offended, but my point in saying all of this is to say there comes a time when you have to say, is the action that my husband is about to take worth it? You should also protect your husband. And now I'm not saying that he's gonna have his Oscar taken away from him because I highly doubt that that's going to happen, but the fact that they're even discussing some sort of some sort of action towards Will, whether it's he's not allowed to come to the Oscars next year or whatever the sanctions that they possibly come up with could be, she could have said, "Baby, take her husband's hand, say, baby, let's go to the lobby, the bathroom, the green room, or whatever. Leave for a while." She probably knew, they probably felt in their hearts that he was going to win the Oscar that night. So yeah, don't leave and not get your honor, but step away for a moment. I felt like it was almost like back in school or something like that, where a girl and her boyfriend, some guy does something to offend the girl, and the girl tells the boyfriend, whispers in the boyfriend's ear and say, "This guy touched my ass," or he, said something to me that offended me or whatever. And then the guy's reaction is to go and want to, beef with the guy and fight the guy. And then the girl is standing there on the side watching it, getting some enjoyment out of it. Like, yeah, see, that's my baby. He's honoring me. But that, being as mature as they are, as long as they've been married, and such a night for him where he's been wanting this and he finally got it, leave for a moment. Like, grab his hand. Like, sat there. The fact that she didn't try to pull him back, I felt like she should have been going after him because she knew that whatever he was going on the stage to do, it probably would not have been a good look. So, the conversation that I had with my friend and client yesterday, it was about, you know, several things can be true at the same time, but with her, she was just 100% all in for Will Smith and taking it to the, well, they're always talking about Black women's hair. They're always offensive to Black women. Black men don't stand up for Black women. There's a lot of things going on in social media where marriage is being attacked, especially in the African American community. And you have a lot of Black males who have podcasts now that are speaking offensively about Black women and all of these different things. Yeah, all of those things definitely may be true, but that doesn't really make what Will Smith did right. So when I read what Steve Harvey said in this issue of this article in Complex Magazine, what Steve Harvey said on his show, I agree with him. He said that he felt that Will Smith overreacted. And so, yeah, he said there's probably going to be some type of banning from the Oscars of Will Smith, even if it's just for a short period of time. And so I feel that there probably will be. And then the apology that Will Smith did on social media, did he really type that or did his PR person type it? I'm quite sure it probably wasn't him. He probably didn't even post it himself. And, if you're angry and you don't feel like apologizing, I feel that that's actually better. I feel that a forced apology is worse, than no apology, because I feel that the person they're being honest, they're not sorry. So the forced apology, it was to save face. It was it was a PR move and all of that. But I wanted to have this conversation because I'm not saying that me saying that what Will Smith did, in my opinion, wasn't the right thing makes me 100% for Chris Rock. But I don't believe that Chris Rock is that crass that he would knowingly know that Jada Pinkett Smith is dealing with an autoimmune disorder such as alopecia, and that he would make a joke about her hair. And even though I do believe that the joke that he made was about the movie, it was about making, remaking or doing G.I. Jane 2. I believe that if he knew that she had alopecia, he wouldn't have made a joke about G.I. Jane. He just wouldn't have even gone there. He wouldn't have even gone there. And a lot of comedians do ad lib things when they see something at the moment. Most of them are pretty quick witted. So they have that quick wit and they can just see something and at the moment they can, make a joke about it. And that's what a lot of them how a lot of them have really become known for being actual comedians, not just planning jokes, but you could be on the stage and then you see something at that moment and you can make a joke about it. That's that's what a lot of that's what a lot of comedians are known for doing. So I do believe that it was something that was just pretty quick-witted for him, and whether a lot of people felt like it was funny or not, it's sad. It's sad to me that Will Smith took this opportunity to overreact. It was an extremely emotional move. It was extremely emotional, and I don't think that we're not perfect, and that's the other thing that we, had in this conversation yesterday. Because she was asking me, she said, "Well, are you perfect?" And I'm like, "Of course not. Nobody is perfect. No one is perfect." So, that shouldn't even really be a question. What does that have to do with what Will Smith did and there being a consequence for the action? Because if that was the case, everybody would get off for almost everything that they do because we're not perfect. Well, he's not perfect. So, the fact that someone cut him off in traffic and he chose to pull out his gun out of the glove compartment and shoot at that person, well, he just got pissed off in the moment. So let it go. We can't operate like that. And the privilege that they have as being celebrities and having the money and the status is not a lot of it's not a lot that they as celebrities and people of status and money have to deal with as consequences. So I'm not really caping for any of them, but what I am saying is that the action that he chose to take, it should have been different. It's already happened. What's done is done. And I'm just here to say that the conversation about Black women and even women who suffer from alopecia and people making fun of people's looks and things like that, that is a conversation that can definitely be had. But to bring that to what Chris Rock did, I do believe that it was a joke about the movie. Her being an actress, having her head shaved, it just kind of, like, went together, and I'm one of those people that I can laugh at a lot of things. I'm one of those people that I like Family Guy, and I know that they can have really, um, dark sometimes or crass humor, but so many things these days are seen as offensive that years ago people could get away with and people could just laugh at. Remember, I don't know if you ever remember in Living Color. I love that show. They did a lot of things on there that today they wouldn't be able to get away with because people would be wanting them canceled. Damon Wayans playing handyman. I mean, come on. Like, they would make fun of so many different celebrities. They've done so many. They've done Oprah Winfrey, Michael Bolton. I mean, there's a long list of people that they have done. Madonna. It didn't, it transcended race and all of that stuff. They didn't just make fun of African American people. They made fun of anything that they, or anyone that they could make humor out of. And Chris Rock, being a longtime comedian, I don't think that what he was trying to do was to offend Jada Pinkett Smith's look. And I definitely don't believe that it was about alopecia. I just don't. And so when I watched that episode of Roland Martin Unfiltered yesterday, and the therapists that were on there, they made so many good points, and I wish that people could really see it in that way versus seeing it from an emotional stance. Because I do believe that a lot of people, if it's like, if you like this person and I'm going to agree with them and agree what they did, for me, I don't have to like a person to agree or disagree with anything that they have said. But I do believe that a lot of opinions that are formulated these days by people, it is because it's like, well, I like this person, so I'm going to agree with what they did, or even say I don't agree with what they did, but I'm not going to I'm not going to condemn their actions in that moment. I'm just not one of those people. I try to look at every aspect of everything. And again, I'm not the hugest fan of Chris Rock either. It's just, it was unfortunate that Will Smith took that opportunity to handle it in that way. So I do agree with Steve Harvey. I believe that it was an emotional move, and it was, like he said, a Hollywood move, because he did it in a way and in a place that he knew he would be able to get away with it. He said it. He said, he overreacted, and he did a Hollywood move by knowing that you could go up on the stage, slap this man, and just walk away. Not even not even flinch, thinking that he was going to come up and sneak you and punch you in the neck or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't have done that to. And then the people who say, well, don't deflect and say that, well, he never would have done that to a white comedian. But would he have? It is a question. It is a question, because I feel that if people can flip it and make it about alopecia and not protecting black women, then it is a question that could be asked. If it were in a different setting, would he have done that? If it were a different person, if it were this person, if it were that person, would he have done it? If it were The Rock hosting the hosting the Oscars, would he have walked up to The Rock and slapped The Rock in the face? And we already know the answer to that. So, when people ask these hypothetical questions, I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. It is a question if people are responding to someone making this deeper than what it really was about. If you felt that your wife was disrespected, but you laughed at the joke, because he did. He laughed at the joke. The conversation that I had yesterday was that no, he did not laugh at that joke. He was laughing at something else. What else was he laughing at? He was laughing at the joke. He laughed at it. And again, it could have been a nervous laugh, because there are some people who laugh in a moment. It's like it's a nervous laughter in response to something. It's not so much that they're laughing because something is funny. It's a nervous reaction. So I just don't know about making this about alopecia and not protecting Black women. I agree that husbands should always protect their spouses, but I also believe that wives have a responsibility as well. It goes both ways. And in that moment, even though Jada was offended, I felt that Jada should have grabbed her husband's hand, even if it meant she had to get up out of her chair in that 25 or 30-pound dress that she had on, which I thought was beautiful, by the way. I love the dress that she had on. She could have got up and grabbed her husband or attempted to try to stop him from going up on the stage because he did not have any place to go up there. They could have handled that separately later. And if he won, not if he won, because obviously he did, but when he won the Oscar, he could have used that opportunity to address Chris Rock. So that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about too. I'm going to go to this article because Venus and Serena Williams' father has responded to this as well. And we all know that he had a stroke, so he's not, really speaking clearly on his own. But through his son, he's made a response to this, and he pretty much said that he does not condone violence in any way unless it's self-defense. And what he meant by self-defense is if you're attacked physically, then you respond in kind by protecting yourself. And he didn't, I guess, appreciate him, meaning Will Smith, in his acceptance speech of the Oscar trying to relate what he did to Chris Rock as the same as him protecting and supporting and caring for his daughters and and what the movie was about. So it's the Hollywood thing to do. We know Hollywood, they're weird and they do a lot of things that are weird and a lot of things are self-serving, and in that moment when he gave the acceptance speech and he was talking about Richard Williams and how he played this great man who had to protect his children, and Will Smith was making it like, during this time of acting as Richard Williams, I was made the protector of, and he was naming the actresses from the movie. So I don't know if the ladies and the girls agreed with him on that, but it just did seem a little bit weird to me and a little bit disingenuous, but those are just my thoughts on it. I just really wanted to get on here and talk about it briefly as I'm sitting here in my office working on a few things. But guys, again, this is my first live in StreamYard, so I just thought I would try it out and have a little bit of a conversation about Chris Rock and Will Smith. I appreciate those who've popped in and out. Anyone who will be watching the replay later, I do appreciate you liking and subscribing to the channel and podcast. So, guys, I'm going to get ready to end it here. I appreciate it. I hope you all have an amazing day. And until the next time, I'm just being beautifully honest.